Okay, I think that it's working properly now.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for introducing me and my colleague Poppy. I'm happy to be here today to give that webinar, and I hope it will be useful for you. And yeah, sorry, I don't speak Greek, but we have Poppy, my colleague in DOAJ, database assistant, and she can help anyone if something is not clear in the presentation. Also, in the questions, you can ask your question in Greek, and she can translate. Okay, let's start today's presentation. I will give a quick introduction about DOAJ. Maybe it's well known for some of you, but maybe some others don't have enough information about DOAJ. DOAJ is the directory of open access journals, which founded in 2003 in Lund University in Sweden. It's a non-profit organization working in open access environment and indexing all open access journal based on specific criteria to ensure the quality of open access journals. You may know there is a big argument about the quality of open access journals. So DOAJ is the most global trusted resource for open access journal. All services provided by DOAJ is free. We have staff members, the core team, around 20 persons. We have also ambassadors for some areas in the world. Basically, the developing countries in like Africa, South America, Asia. Also, we have more than 100 volunteers who are working in helping the core team in application evaluations. Until the moment, not October 22, sorry, it's old. Until today, we have DOAJ has 21,000, more than 21,000 journals in 89 languages from 136 countries. DOAJ also indexes the content of the journals. So until today, we have more than 10 million articles. So researchers can use DOAJ as open access and free database. Yeah, this is the geographical coverage of journals we index in DOAJ. Let me start with the criteria part, which is the most important, I think, for most of you. Okay, DOAJ basically asks journals for transparency and best practicing. So one of our goals, from our goals, not only indexing and collecting journals, but also improve the practicing of open access publishing. So sometimes we receive emails and questions from journals. Yeah, we want to index our journal. What should we do? So we are open to help journals, editors in all areas of the world to improve their publishing practices in open access environment. So the main and basic criteria we ask for is openness. The journal must be open access. It means content available for free, no costs. User don't have to pay to read. Immediate access. So now we don't accept embargo periods. For example, if you some journals has embargo period, so they publish the journal, the article 6 months for a subscription, then it's available in open access. This practice is not accepted by DOJ. So content must be immediately available. No registration in the website. Some cases of journals, the journal is open access, the content is free, but you have to register. This is not accepted as well. And open access statement is important. We need to understand how what open access means to the journal. So the statement must be or should be compatible with DOJ definition of open access. So here you can find some examples of statements, open access statements, good examples. You may depend on them or some of them. So you can depend on them. I will share the presentation after this session, so you can ask for it. So this is good example of open access statement, but please don't copy and paste. You have to, this is the main points should be exist in the statement, because we don't like that journals, they copying from other journals. So you can take the text, but you have to rephrase, rewrite the text. Okay, so we ask for 5 articles at least per year to be published. So whatever number of issues you have, you must at least publish 5 articles. We accept journals in all subjects, no limitations here. Also language, no limitations. We accept journals in all languages, and it's not required that you have, for example, Greek interface and English. No, if you have only Greek website, you can apply. We accept that, because we have a team, core team and volunteers who covers almost all languages or most of active languages. So don't think about adding English. If you don't have English interface, no problem. We accept any language. The journals, the journal should be regular and active. Follow a publishing schedule. If you says it's we have 2 issues, one in December, one in June, so you should be accurate in that. If you have a new journal, we ask for 10 articles, just new journals, and it means almost the first year. In the first year of the journal life, you have to publish 10 articles to be accepted. But if your journal already old and running or established since 2 years or 3 years, we need just 5 articles. Website of the journal is important for us. We ask for some information. We need the ISSN. It's important. Your journal must be registered in ISSN or portal, and the data which in your record in ISSN portal must be the same of your journal and the same on your website, because maybe Poppy, she's expert in this part. She found differences and changes in the title. So you submit a title to our application, but your title in ISSN portal is different. So make sure of that. The homepage should be dedicated, a secured page, not required, but not required, but we recommend that. We ask for individual articles. Some bad practices, we find full issue, one PDF for all articles of this issue. This is not good practice. We don't accept that. We ask for individual full text file for each article. Please don't use metrics, misleading, non-standard metrics. We know only Scopus metrics, site score. We know Web of Science, JCR, impact factor report. This is only what we know. Otherwise, we never accept that. There is many of fake or non-standard services. We don't accept that. Don't use any of those. We accept advertising on the website, but it should not be too many ads in the page, not destructive. Advertise normal, simple. We don't like that. The main information we look for in the website: the scope of the journal, instructions and guidelines for authors, contact information. We should know who is the publisher and how can we contact the publisher. So that information must be clearly published. Editorial board information with affiliation. It's not enough to mention the chief and editor and members. No, we need only the affiliation. Open access statement and author charges, the ABCs. It's important. Even if the journal doesn't apply ABCs, you have to mention that. You simply say, we don't have ABCs. We don't charge authors. No problem. It's easy, but you have to mention that information. The editorial process, which includes the peer review. We ask for peer review. We need to know which type of peer review you are applying in your journal. We ask for at least 2 reviewers per articles. Otherwise, we can't accept the journal. Plagiarism checking. We recommend and ask journal to do this, but it's not required. So if you don't check plagiarism, no problem. We don't reject journals because they don't have plagiarism software. If you have, your journal checking the plagiarism, you have to mention which software you are using. And we need some details about the peer review process. what is the start? What happens after submission? What happen in decisions? How is their initial review? Please mention all steps you do in peer review. The cycle of the article from submission until acceptance or rejection. Here, most common types of peer review: single blind peer review, double blind, open peer review, collaborative peer review, third party peer review, post publication peer review, cascading peer review. Whatever the type you select, we accept all types, but you have to mention that. Let us know which type. Yeah, okay. Endogeny. Maybe it's not common expression. Endogeny means the number of, it's called in some other areas self-publishing. It means number of articles published in the journal by board members, which means editors, member of editorial board, chief in editors, reviewers. If any of those would like to publish in the journal, the number and percentage of the articles must not exceed 25%. For example, if you have 4 articles, so you can only publish 1 article authored or written by member of the editorial board. This is very important because we don't accept journals if the number of articles is more than 25%. Of course, it's recommended practice and it's ethical practice because it's not good that we publish to ourselves. So I am chief in editor, so I am in charge of everything related to this journal. So here, if I have an article, so the conflict of interest is really exist because I know everything. I know that there is a new submission. I know who is reviewing this paper. So it's conflict of interests. So it's not preferred that the chief and editor, member of the editorial board, advisory board, reviewers, it's not preferred to publish in the same journal. Yeah, okay. Now, I will focus on important part of our main and basic criteria, copyright and license. And this part is really confusing for many editors and publishers. Basically, the copyright is held by the owner of the work or owner of the article. And by default, the author is the owner of the article. So before submitting the journal, the article to publishing in a journal, the author is the copyright owner. But what happened after that? Maybe the journal asked to transfer the copyright. We accept that. We don't refuse journals because the publisher is asking for copyright transfer. No problem. Feel free to ask author to transfer the copyright, but it's not recommended practice in open access. The recommended practice is author retain the copyright, but it's not mandatory. If you said that the journal transfers the copyright, the author transferred the copyright to the journal, it's accepted as well. But take care of conflict between the copyright when you make a transfer and the license. We will see now what's happening and what's going on. Okay, here this is yeah, a graph maybe easily explain how copyright goes and run in academic publishing or open access publishing. Yeah, here on the left, by default, is the author is the copyright owner. But when you submit your paper to a journal, there is two potentials. The first is the journal policy accept that authors retain the copyright. Okay, in this case, we have nothing here. We go to the end until license. But the other option or the other potential is transferring the copyright to the journal. We accept both policies in DOAJ. I say again, okay? So in case of transfer, there is transfer of all rights, and sometimes there is partial transfer. Okay, for example, maybe the publisher or the journal asks for only the commercial rights. So the statement says the author retained the copyright, but transfer only the commercial rights to the publisher. It's accepted as well. So the transfer should be for all rights and for part of the rights. Okay, but take care. If you have any of those statements, your journal will be rejected. Exclusive rights, we don't accept that because it's not accepted practice in open access. Author transfer entire, which is another wording for the same sentence. All rights reserved. These statements no longer exist in open access. So please don't use any of those at any position in your website. Here also I provide some good examples for copyright policy. You can depend on them. Yeah, again, don't copy and paste. You can just take as a guide, make rephrasing. Okay. The other part, the other important part is the license. And DOJ accepts any license, but we recommend Creative Commons license. But if you have your own license, okay, it's accepted. Simply, and this point make confusion to many of us, even myself at the beginning. What is the difference between copyright and license? Simply, the copyright, it's by default owned by the author, as we already mentioned, but the license is the rights which the copyright owner grant to others. Okay, so if I am the author and I am the copyright owner, by using the license, I grant all the others. What others mean here? The others means publishers, the journal, readers, others, any others. I am the copyright owner, so I grant these rights or this license to all the others. Okay. Yeah, okay. Creative Commons license, maybe you are familiar with the attributes of the Creative Commons license, they have 4 main attributes. Pi, which means the credit given to the creator. So and this attribute exists in all license. So Pi, which means the author and the publishing journal, the information, that data must be mentioned. Share alike, which means the adaptation of this work must be shared under the same license. No derivative, which means it's not accepted to make adaptation or derivatives of this work. NC, which means no commercial, so you can't use this commercially. You can use it only for free, but you can't gain money from this content. This one, 0, which is new, a little bit new, which means no copyright. So yeah, feel free to do whatever you want in this resource if you see this sign, 0. Okay, Creative Commons has 6 or 7 license. The licenses mix a mix of the attributes we just explained. So we have the first one, CC0, which means no copyright. Then CC BY, which is the most common and most recommended in open access publishing. Here it means the license terms, which I grant as an owner to the others. So I allow others to distribute, remix, copy, share the content with mention of the original creator or creation data. So I can use the article, but I have to mention who is the author and which journal published this work for the first time. CC BY share alike, which means, as we explained, it's allowed to remix, adapt, and build on the work, but you have to use the same conditions and the same creation license. CC BY ND, which means it's not allowed to adapt or make derivative based on that work. Okay. CC BY NC, here it's not allowed to use the work commercially. So you can copy, you can share, you can build on the work, but you can't use it commercially. And here there is a mix of non-commercial license and the previous two. So here it's a CC BY NC, non-commercial, SA, share alike, so you can't use it commercially and you have to adapt on the same license. The last one, almost the same, similar, non-commercial, you can't use it commercially, no derivative, so you can't build on that work. I tried to explain quickly. I know it's a little bit complicated, but it's important to know how to use the copyright, the license, and how to avoid conflict between copyright and license. Here, this graph will explain the situation better, in a better way. Here, the copyright owner is author. So I'm already the copyright owner, so I have all rights. But by using the license, I say to the others, which means the readers and publisher and the journal as well. So this is the terms of using. This is the way you can use my work. and I have to assign which license from the 6 or 7 we just explained. So here, when the author is the copyright owner, the license apply to the others, which are readers and publishers. And here the situation is changed. The copyright owner is the publisher. So the license applies to others. Who are the others here? Author and readers. You got it? So this is the best way to understand how to use the Creative Commons license. The Creative Commons license applies to others, not to the copyright owner, because I already own everything. I hope it's clear. Okay, the last part we have today, the best practicing. DOAJ recommend some practices. It's recommended but not required. So your journal will never be rejected because you don't have digital preservation. For example, we don't reject journals in this case. Repository policy identifier, if you don't use DOI, you will not be rejected by DOJ. Including or key the data identifiers in your data, it's best practicing but not required, not of the basic criteria. So if you don't have any of those, no worry, you will not be rejected. Okay, the last part, sorry, this is the last part. Okay, the application form. Now you have to read the basic criteria, which I summarized today. Of course, 1 hour is not enough for understanding every details, small details in the the criteria, but you have to read it in details. Then when you see you are ready, so it's the time for submitting your application. You can simply read our guides here in this link. It's available in some languages, but yeah, sorry, Greek not included, but maybe we can, and maybe if any of you would like to translate it, it would be helpful, and we appreciate that. Then simply you have to create an account. It takes just 1 minute. Just add your email and select your password. Then you will get an email for verification. Then you can start submitting your application. I advise to be transparent. Don't hide any information. Okay? Be direct. We ask for open access statement. Add the link of open access statement. Don't add the homepage link. Be direct. Answer the question directly. Don't claim anything, because we find out, we know everything. So we have our specific way to discover and find out claims. If a journal has mentioned some information, it's not real, or it's not in the website, on the website. So we find out that, we discover all of those. So please be transparent, be direct, don't claim anything. Okay, here the application form, we have 6 parts, I think. We have 6 parts or 6 sections. The first one about open access. We ask you to add the link of open access information on your website. So please be direct, add the direct link to that information. Also, we ask when the journal started publishing as open access. Sometimes your journal is old, published since 1990, and just 5 years ago started to be, or transformed to open access. Just mention the start date of open access. The second section, which collects basic information about your journal, the title, ISSN. You have to add subject keywords about the topics covered by your journal, the languages which you publish in, the publisher name, publisher country. If you the publisher publish this journal for another association or society, you have to mention the name and country of that society. So this is basic information, and we check in ISSN portal, so please be accurate in this. Then we ask for copyright license, which license you apply in your journal, and we ask for the URL. Where can we find this information in your website? Okay, you have to select one of those licenses. Then we ask for adding the copyright link. So maybe it's the same link, because usually journals add copyright policy and license in the same page. So you can give the same link, no problem. Also, we ask you a question if the license, Creative Commons license, included in the full text. Simply, if you have, you say yes and give us an example. If you don't, okay, no problem. It's not important. Okay, then the fourth section is editorial information. We accept. You have to assign or choose or select which type of peer review applied in your journal and add the information, the link for that information from your website. We ask for link of scope and aims of the journal, editorial board, instructions for authors, and finally the average time between submission and acceptance. So this is important. You have to say, to mention reasonable period of time, not very short. Okay, the fifth section related to the business model, ABCs. Do you have ABCs in your journal? If yes, or even if no, you have to mention to give us the link of that information. As I just explained in the basic criteria, you have to mention in both cases, if you have ABCs, or even if you don't have, you can say we don't have ABCs. Okay, that's enough. If you have ABCs, we ask you to mention what is the value, what is the costs. Here you can select the currency. You will find all currencies, euro and US dollar, and even other currencies, and the value, how much. The last sixth section, it's about the best practicing. And as I told you, it's recommended. No worry if you don't have if you don't met any of those. We ask for archiving policy. Do you have archiving service anywhere? Repository service policy. If you have this policy, give us the link. Or if your journal registered its policy in Sherpa Romeo, for example, give us the link. Do you have DOI? If yes, okay, select DOI. If you don't have, no worry. And the last two questions, ORCID ID included in your metadata or not, and if you, the journal, participating in initiative for for open citation standards or not. This section, feel free to select your actual status. So no rejection because you don't have archiving or any of those. And finally, review. You can review your application, submit the application. This is the cycle. We receive your application, and the first person who receive your application is Poppy. She's the most important person of DOJ. She is the gate of DOJ. She's very important for all of us and for you as well, because she filter journals, she check ISSN, some other data, and maybe your journal rejected from triage. Then when the journal passed the triage stage, went to the editorial groups. We have many groups based on language or based on country. Then we review the application, take the decision, and give you a feedback. Finally, we have 1 minute. Common reasons for rejection. Why we reject journals from triage? Poppy reject. I think she can explain more than me, better than me. Okay, journals not open access, part of the full text not available, ISSN not registered in the international portal, so we can't accept. The journal has 3 articles, or it's a new journal and they have published only 7 articles. We need 5 for the old and 10 for the new, so we don't accept. The full text not available, so we can't accept. The website is down, so we can't review the journal. No license, no copyright, or wrong copyright policy. In all cases, the journal is rejected from triage. Rejection after triage. So incorrect information, if you give us misleading information, the basic criteria not clear. There is no copyright policy, no open access statement. Peer review is not, we feel it's not that good quality, doesn't have good quality, so we reject for this reason. False claim that the journal indexed in DOJ. So please don't say if you don't have your journal indexed in DOJ, don't add our logo, because we reject immediately. If we found the logo of DOJ and the journal is not indexed in DOJ, we reject the journal. And I think we ban for 1 year. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Sorry if I take some time, and I hope that presentation was useful for you, and I'm happy to receive your questions, and Poppy is here for translation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahmoud. We will be waiting for questions. Maybe we'll have some. Actually, I have a question, if it's all right. Okay. I was wondering if you had any cases of removing journals because they no longer meet the criteria.
Sorry, examples for what? Sorry, can you say again?
Removing journals from the directory.
Okay. You mean journal already in DOJ, then we removed it? Yeah. In some cases, we found the journal for many reasons. One of them, we found the journal is seized, no longer publishing, it's stopped. So we remove it. If we found the policy of copyright changed, not compatible with our criteria, maybe when we accept the journal, it was okay, but after some time, the policy changed, so we changed that. Maybe we recently removed many journals because the website is no longer working. So yeah, there's many reasons for rejection and removal.
Yes, yes. Okay, it makes sense. There is a question if there are any good examples of Greek journals indexed in the directory.
I think Poppy can answer this.
Yes, maybe Poppy can answer that.
I'm not sure I understand the question. I mean,
Greece, please.
if the journal is indexed, then it means that it meets the criteria. So, especially if the journal is indexed recently, it means that meets the current criteria of DOAJ. I guess there are journals that are not updated for many years now. So, so maybe these journals do not meet the current criteria of DOAJ. So I guess the most recent journals indexed in DOAJ are good examples of journals indexed in DOAJ.
Makes sense. Also have an anonymous question. As a follow-up to the first question, as the directory is growing, how do you ensure that you review older entries? How challenging is that process? Maybe Poppy should also.
For sure, it's very challenging because we receive a big number of applications each day and in a year. So it's difficult to review the current applications and also review the old journals that were indexed many years ago. But we do random checks. We have a lot of feedback through help desk about older journals indexed in the DOAJ. So it's in a working process and not always a fast one process.
Yes.
And I know that we do have a process to check older older index journals in specific dates, so that we review those journals as for example, for journals indexed in a specific date, or journals that haven't been updated since a specific date. So it's an ongoing process, and it is done by different ways.
And when a journal is removed, actually that's a question. When a journal is removed, do you continue to provide their already published material?
No, you mean the uploaded metadata? No. Yes, along with the journal, the metadata also is removed from DOAJ.
Yes, makes sense. And the last question that I see is if Diamond journals charge APCs, if that's possible. I think not.
Yeah, no problem. We accept all policies. If you have APCs, if you started as Diamond open access and moved to green open access, yeah, no problem. We accept that, but you have to update the information. Just let us know that you have I added in the link in the chat now the link of Greece journals in DOJ. They are 39 journals until the moment. I guess it's not big number. You have more journals in Greece, and I hope that our team receives some more applications from Greece after this session, and we are open and we are happy to help you, to support you if you have any questions.
Thank you. And Poppy, since you're the most experienced in this, do you find common mistakes in Greek journals that when they try to be indexed by the directory?
Yeah, the most common mistakes are contradictory copyright or license information in the website. I mean, a journal has to state clearly its licensing and copyright information, but it is also important to be consistent throughout the website. I mean, many times journals have a stated copyright or licensing policy in one web page, and the articles have different information. So it is important to have a consistency in the information provided in a website and in the articles, of course. Also, when a journal chooses to use more than one language for their website, it's important all information are included in both languages, and the information is the same in both language or all languages. I don't know how many. And also, just stating that the journal is open access, this is a common mistake, that stating that the journal is open access, we do require a clear open access statement as it is stated in our guide.
We have one more question.
See, let me just the previous one. Why we remove the journals that don't have current contents? Because it is in our policy to have only current active journals. That's it. I mean, you can see in our guide that as Mahmoud said earlier, that we expect at least 5 articles each year, and it is our rule to include a journal in DOAJ. So it is important for us for a journal to be active and current.
Thank you. And we have a last question. What if a journal doesn't meet all the journal policies, including in the principles of transparency and best practices?
Yeah, it means before submission or when they submit. I will answer both cases. If your journal now not ready and doesn't meet our criteria and best practicing and basic criteria, you have to improve your policy, check policies, samples from journals already in DOJ, and improve and change the policy, then you can submit. If journal applied for already DOJ and doesn't meet our criteria, if any of the basic criteria doesn't meet, we reject the journal. But the best practices, no, we don't reject, no problem, as I said many times. So basic criteria is the most important for us.
Okay, I understand. Let me switch to Greek for a second. I'm sorry, Mahmoud.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Μόνο να σας κοινοποιήσω αυτόν εδώ το σύνδεσμο για την αξιολόγηση του σεμιναρίου. Θα σας στείλω το link και στο chat για όσους δεν μπορούν να σαρώσουν. Φαντάζομαι το βλέπετε όλα εντάξει. Επίσης να σας ενημερώσουμε ότι τον Μάρτιο θα διεξαχθεί και ένας κύκλος σεμιναρίων για την δημοσίευση καθεστώτος Ανοικτής Πρόσβασης και ένας κύκλος σεμιναρίων για τα ερευνητικά δεδομένα για RTM. Σίγουρα θα κυκλοφορήσει ένα μάθημα το οποίο θα μπορείτε να το κάνετε στο δικό σας χρόνο. Δεν θα είναι σεμιναριακό, θα μπορείτε να συνδεθείτε, να φτιάξετε λογαριασμό και να το παρακολουθήσετε όσες φορές θέλετε και θα έχουμε και τον κύκλο των σεμιναρίων. Στο μεταξύ σας έχω στείλει το σύνδεσμο της αξιολόγησης, όποτε θέλετε. And I think that we're ready to close today's webinar. Thank you very much, both Mahmoud and Poppy. I think that it was very helpful. And I certainly had some questions, so that's also good.
Thank you so much, and I hope it was a useful session for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.